Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a Terran versus Protoss. We're in the bottom right corner. We're looking inside of the main base of Maru and his opposition in the top left, playing with the red Protoss probes. He goes by the name of Classic. There are not a lot of Maru replays out there right now. Is it because he hasn't been playing in a whole lot of tournaments? Well, ultimately yes. Now, is he not playing in a whole lot of tournaments because he's hiding strategies? Or is it because he has been taking a bit of a break? Or is it because we have a little bit of both? Obviously, a lot of pro gamers were not entirely sure as to what they need to do, since a lot of the big tournaments were not announced. Like right now, for example, we know that the Esports World Cup, the EWC, is going to happen. And last year, there was a prize pool of $1 million. So I think that's giving a lot of top-tier pro gamers purpose once again. But I can imagine, yeah, if you're somebody like Maru and you've got like $1.5 million in tournament earnings over the years and you're sitting there, you're wondering, what should I be spending my time on? Maybe winning a $200-300 online cup is not really your main goal. So I haven't seen too many of Maru's games as of late. The games that I did see, spoiler alert, I was honestly not too impressed. But this man is still considered to be the #1 player from Korea ever. And many players consider Maru to be the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time. So I'm giving him a good opportunity here. This particular match is from the PiG Sty tournament, so we'll have to find out exactly what ended up going down against Classic. I did cast a bunch of Classic games recently. There was this one series where I mean, I have seen some good games from Classic too, but there was one series where Classic just made so many sloppy mistakes. It was starting to look like your average Platinum League game or whatever. I was not, no. Sorry, I didn't mean to roast any Platinum players out there, but I was not liking that particular series for Classic very much, and that is the match that comes up in my head when I think of Classic now, so maybe this will be the time that he gets to redeem himself. Obviously, Classic, one of the most successful players we've ever had with Protoss over the years. I do believe that historically, Maru is the clear favorite going into a match like this. Not that Classic is weak, it's just that Maru has pretty much always had his number, but I mean, that's because Maru has got a great win rate against practically everybody. So let's see. Other than maybe Serral. Yeah, not so much against Serral. That seems to be his nemesis. Anyways, command center on a low ground. Barracks into a factory inside of the main base, and then of course also a starport. In the meantime, on the side of the Protoss, I'm assuming this will be a Stargate base build, or a Twilight Council. Should be a Twilight Council, actually. Robo! Alright. Well then. Robo together with an extra gateway. That was not on my list of options here for Classic. I mean, it's a little odd in general in this matchup to be opening up with a Robo first. Especially from a man who is, well, called Classic. Programmer usernames don't necessarily indicate their playstyles. Ooh, Sentry Micro! Oh my god. Well, the probe itself decided to take matters into its own hands, and that is big, because ultimately that does deny the vision here for Maru. Anyways, Classic's username is very much so an indicator of the style that he likes to play. He prefers playing a very classical approach of Protoss. And generally that means more macro focused. Generally that means a more passive start. Really? He didn't want to show that the Medevac was picking up a funky. I really think he should have brought the Widowmine, but he didn't want to show the hallucinated Phoenix here that he was bringing, I guess, any Widowmines across the map. Stalkers though are going to try and intercept this. Yeah. Easiest interception of Classic's life. So for Maru right now, he doesn't know what he's playing against. He has seen Stalkers. You would make the assumption at this point that it is going to be a Stalker push, right? Blink Stalker opener, very popular in this matchup. We see it all the time. Classic, though, in the meantime, has gone into an Observer. Honestly, this is not really lining up particularly nicely. He has gone into an Observer now. Marines are setting up a surround. You should recall. Does he recall? He doesn't have Blink, obviously. I think he should, yeah. Nice targeting there by our Terran. Gets the weakened Stalker. But in the meantime, this is actually a very fast third Nexus all the way up north. Odd game, though, for Maru to read right here, right? So he has seen Stalkers, but other than that, he hasn't seen anything. So he's trying to see if maybe he can get a little bit lucky. Double Cloak Banshee is certainly something that can get a bunch of damage done. Ultimately, the attack is just going to be Marines and a couple leftover units from the early game. A Siege Tank or 2 as well is very nice. Immortal production, though, is already underway. A new one will be coming up in just a moment. Charge is also, well, we should see a chrono boost on that. We have some energy for it right now. It should be finishing up reasonably soon. A couple of the Widow Mines get burrowed over at the front. One of them gets targeted down. Charge is such an important upgrade, but Classic apparently prioritizing the worker production. He does not care. He believes he's gonna be able to finish up the upgrade in time. Risky, though. Well, he's got 10, 15 seconds now. The upgrade is finishing. And he turns out to be correct. No urgency required, Lowko. Don't you worry about it. Now with Charge done, yep, suddenly this Protoss army is going to have a very easy time closing the distance to the Siege Tank. Immortals, of course, absolute powerhouses when it comes to fighting those armored units. Banshee, in the meantime, did get 3 worker kills. But not really the flying start you're hoping for as Terran. Okay, 4, 5. Interestingly enough, by the way, he made a 3rd Banshee. Making an extra Banshee at this phase in the game, we should really turn off Cloak here, Maru. Yeah, well, now it got turned off, but it only had 6 energy remaining. We're missing a little bit of crispness. There's a little bit of crispness here that Maru is normally known for, and I'm not really seeing it. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, but usually Maru is a relentless monster. This is also like a bit of a sloppy engagement. I mean, he does get the Stalker here, but he doesn't know if there's Blink done or anything along those lines at this point. It's an assumption to make, but it got some value. 2 probes as well. Okay. This was, by the way, quite committed here by Terran, and rather than go into a 3rd command center, he is now effectively turning this into an all-in. There is no 3rd command center. Maru is adding on additional production on 2 bases, and that's it. Yeah, we're preparing supply depots just to make a massive army. He knows, of course, that Classic had a very fast 3rd Nexus. He was there just a couple minutes ago. He knew that this base was already mining. Classic, in the meantime, though, is making the assumption that Terran does have a 3rd CC, because he's making a 4th right now. He really doesn't need a 4th base. If Classic overproduces economy here, he could be in a world of trouble, but obviously the longer that Maru waits with the attack, the more of an advantage all of those mining workers are going to give him. But I'm expecting to see Classic here solidly sitting in the income advantage, and that means that he's currently getting like 8 Zealots more a minute. That's a lot of Zealots. He can effectively lose that many units every minute that goes by. Over, well, whenever, between right now and whenever Maru attacks. Nice targeting here with the sentry, that's good. Observer coming back home. There is in the meantime also a Widow Mine drop inside of the main base, killing a bunch of probes. I don't mind the Widow Mine drop here. This is very much so telling the story to Classic that this is a macro game. Yeah, we need to effectively see this push win the game now for Maru. He needs to get damage with this. Zealots are getting picked off. Turning this into a 2-base all-in, though, is pretty wild. Let's see. Scan here reveals how much Protoss there truly is, and this Terran army is looking mighty strong. There is a Colossus. Ranged is going to finish up for that bad boy as well in just a moment. 2nd Colossus available. 3rd one starts up. 2nd Robo facility also coming up. Anti-armor missile there is pretty good, but Classic is saying, yo, how about we just fight right here, right now? Immortals have been tasked with sniping down the siege tanks. Bit of an overextension by Classic. I don't think he really needed to be there. But again, this is 2-base Terran versus 4-base Protoss. Classic doesn't care about ineffective traits. He's just trying to keep this Terran army off of his back. Another Widow Mine drop. I mean, the Widow Mine drop is not going to win the game. It's going to deal economic damage, which works if you're going to try and play a long game. But this is not going to be a long game. At least it shouldn't be. Dropping a mule, by the way, too, for repairing the siege tanks. Another Widow Mine drop inside of the main. Zealot shuts that down, too. Now there's 3 Colossi out. and Maru is awkwardly committing to more of the same, he doesn't really have an option, but it's mostly because he set himself up like this. I mean, he's getting good value. It's a bit funky to be focusing on eco damage when you're going for a 2-base all-in. Like, eco damage before you go for a 2-base all-in makes a lot of sense. Especially if it's early, right? Because then you may catch your opponent off guard as they're trying to build up economy. But all of this worker harassment here from Maru is basically irrelevant. We have 30 probes killed. But it's still 2 bases for Maru. He can fly a CC across. Yeah. This is the strangest all-in ever. Like, this is the strangest GG. Because Maru has just successfully halted his opponent's production by killing a ton of probes. But then he can't do any follow-up because he doesn't have one. That was one of the strangest games of top-level StarCraft that I have casted in 2025 so far. Extremely good mechanics. Very, very strong mechanical skill. So the micro there was solid from Terran. Obviously his macro was not sloppy, but it felt like a fundamental error in a strategy game that he has played tens of thousands of games of. It doesn't make sense to focus heavily on eco harassment when you're going for a 2-base all-in. Like, your goal should be to try and win the game with your all-in. Trying to play macro while playing a 2-base all-in, I mean, you're gonna fizzle out by like minute 10. Anyways, now we find ourselves on Amygdala. Classic probably also a little confused from the previous match. There is this aura that a lot of pro gamers have carefully cultivated, right? And Maru is certainly one of them. I think Classic there for a moment was also wondering, wait a second, could there be like, I don't know, like a hidden base? Like a proxy command center somewhere on the map? Because none of this is really adding up. No. No. I don't think it was. No. You see this a lot, especially when you watch players go up against Serral. Suddenly it's like they forget how to play a normal game or what they have practiced over the months, and instead they just decide to go for something that they never really intended on going for. Maru has had a similar aura for many years, but I don't know, in the last few series where I've seen Maru play, he doesn't seem to have it. Let's see. I'm hoping for his sake, by the way, that it's just like a... Obviously, he could just recap himself, right? Maybe he can, like, just get it together again, but... I'm hoping for his sake that it's mostly because he just hasn't been playing as much. We'll have to see. This is a large map. Should favor Classic in that department. Classic taking 7 minerals as well from the opponent. Building, It's gonna show Maru. It's like, hey bro, look at what I got. Do you have a Reaper on the map? Oh, you went for a Marine. Okay. See ya, loser. He's gonna bring this home as a trophy. There is nothing to stop him now. No Reaper available, and that means that Classic is immediately gonna send the very first Adept across the map too. Twilight Council first this time around for Classic. Robo Facility first, by the way, was a little bit awkward. Don't think he really achieved too much with it, although he did successfully confuse his opponent a bit, and maybe that's ultimately what sparked Maru to go for a 2-base all-in, but... Ooh. Oh, dude! That SCV was just barely able to remove the scaffolding out of that command center, dude. That was... Honestly, delaying that command center is massive. Because you end up, well, slowing down the orbital command. Terran generally hits a short supply block as well. That's like a 20-second advantage if that Adept went straight for the SCV. Anyway, now we get a dance between the Adepts and the Terran units available. One of the SCVs, maybe the same one actually, that built the CC. No, that was this guy right over here. No, actually, obviously, it... Rest in pieces. Anyways, the Adepts now have snuck away. One of them has died, but we have one SCV, one Hellion, and then one Marine that have all gone down. All right, so blink on the back of this for Classic. A Cyclone in the meantime on the other side of the map. And we'll have to see whether or not Maru is going to add on a third command center in this game. Now, because there are Hellions, yeah, Classic is not going to take any chances. He's walled himself in nicely over here at the front, using the extra gateway and then the robo facility here too. How many gateways does he have in total? Just the 3. So it's going to be Blink together with 3 gateways in total. That should give him a good bit of pressure. Medevac is here though. This is going to get scouted already. Great positioning here by Classic. Yep, shuts this down. Easy peasy. And I think with this, you just kind of go for a third base and call it a day. Yeah. A lot of players like to be aggressive with 3 gateways too, but when there's a medevac full of fire trucks, you might want to be a bit careful. Plus, it's Classic. If this was Max Specs playing or Hero, they would probably be aggressive right now, but Classic, nah. He likes to chill. Classic is not a very spicy player, you know. Classic probably thinks that bell peppers are spicy. That's the level of spice we're talking about. It's, yeah, it's relatively easy to predict what Classic is going to do. Love the planet, by the way, in the background. I always like it whenever we get these giant planets on the outside of the map. Anyways, was that an observer going down? It was. Charge coming up here for Classic. Liberator here for Maru too, so he's slowly building up his army. What he hasn't built yet, though, is an add-on over here for that new barracks. A little bit funky. Very funky, actually. So he doesn't have... He doesn't have Stimpack, no combat shields, no nothing. He's now going to add on a third barracks. But this is once more a very committed attack here from the Terran player. Now, there is a great choke point over here. If you can get siege tanks within this area, it's really difficult for Protoss to try and slow it down. Keep in mind, though, that there is Blink. Charge is about 80% of the way done. Siege tank gets in position. This is a attack designed to kill the third Nexus. No Stimpack, no combat shields, no +1. So it's an awkward timing to be pushing it, especially if you get spotted while you're moving out. I guess that's why we had the observer getting sniped on the other side of the map. Nexus, though, given up on here by Classic. I think Maru should... Is he going to continue? He's thinking about it. Zealots are going to get charged, though, right now. It's going to make them a hell of a lot more powerful. Liberator gets blinked on, too. Immediately targeted down. Stalkers awkwardly running around the side. One of them goes down. One of the siege tanks, that is. New reinforcing zealots are also available. Probes that were previously mining these minerals, trying to get revenge for their jobs being taken away from them. Absolutely incredibly scrappy fight here, but okay. I think Maru should go home. Okay. In the meantime, the medevac tried to put in some work. Nexus is likely going to get rebuilt immediately. There we go. Yeah, so if the observer would have spotted the move out, or if there was any sort of unit out on the map up north, then this attack here from the Terran player could have fallen flat on its face. Now it looks pretty brilliant. But that could have been another one of those games where we're looking at it and we're like, yo, I'm not exactly sure what Maru's trying to do right now, but that looked a little messy. Obviously, that's also the advantage, right? If you're an aggressive player, like, for example, Hero, like, for example, Max Specs, they would have sent those Stalkers to the other side of the map, and they would have seen this move out right when it moved out. Oh, bad, retreat! Oh, God, okay. Free medevac. Free Hellions. You don't look a gift medevac in the mouth. Hey, so where we end up right now is a, believe it or not, another 2-base all-in. So, despite the fact that Maru carved a really nice advantage for himself, he is doing a multi-layered 2-base all-in. Which is... This is one of those build orders that in my mind is really good. Up until probably Master League or so. Obviously, when you are somebody with Maru's execution, you can climb higher than that. But at the absolute highest level of StarCraft 2, aka when you're facing guys like Classic, multiple 2-base all-ins in a row seems like a weak play to me. Colossus once more coming up. The main problem, right? So we're nearly at the 10-minute mark. 10 minutes into the game, especially with mules, that's when the main base is going to start running low. Look at this. We're 9 minutes almost in. Main base is already running out. Yeah, you can reposition the command center, but that costs you a lot of mining time. Colossus is already out. Force fields are available. Yep, beautiful force fields. Careful though with that Colossus. Okay. Siege tanks wanted to get the final hit. New Colossus now available. Not even a shield battery in sight, by the way. Ranged is going to finish up in a moment for Classic. Classic, though, is just fighting this head-on. He does not want those siege tanks to go up in sketchy positions. I wonder if maybe he should be backing up right about right now when the siege tanks siege up. Either way. Okay, one of the Colossi does bite the dust. Marauder coming in around the side as well by accident, but ultimately it gets some value. Now the Colossi have disappeared off of the battlefield. Fourth Nexus in the meantime is done for Classic. Maru still stuck on 2 bases. Now we're 10 minutes in. We only have 4 mineral fields in the main base. 49 SCVs is nice and all, but he can only really effectively mine like 30. So Classic will continue doing this tug of war. Half of the Terran's army supply is in Medivacs. Medivacs not even part of the army. This is not it, Maru. It's not going to work against the likes of Classic. Honestly, if anything, you want to do this like... This is like the last type of opponent you want to be doing it against, you know? If we want to label Protoss players, maybe labeling players is a bad thing, but Classic is very much so your quintessential, I'm going to defend everything you throw at me type of player. Maybe doing this against somebody else would be more effective, but yeah, now we're flying the main command center on over towards the gold. This is about, I want to say a minute or so, where the income advantage is going to go heavily in favor of Classic. Classic already has 4 bases. He's going to be able to harass this base from the back too. Mispositioned CC. Bunch of Medivacs that have been YOLO'd in. You leave 1 Stalker behind? Excellent. Just being a little bit of a jerk with it. Maru's now going to start bleeding SCVs. In the meantime, Classic's economy is still booming. Classic has decided that he does not need to be rushed. Ghost Academy coming up. Ghost Academy on 2 base economy is wild. Normally you don't make this any earlier than 3 base economy, and then really only when you have like a sufficient amount of stuff happening. These are going to be extremely expensive ghosts. I also don't think ghosts are really that strong, although, yeah, I mean, they're still good. But you need like a backbone, right? You can't really just make ghosts and then, believe that you're going to be able to destroy this army. They're going to be good against zealots here in particular. And obviously, this is a very zealot-heavy army, but it's a big investment. 3 ghosts, though, are coming up. Maru has smashed his piggy bank. Classic just putting in more spotter units. I mean, the next attack should certainly be by Classic. Classic should never allow this base to mine. Classic is so conservative though. Like he is just sitting back. Come on, Classic. How many Colossus do you want? He's like, I want all of the Colossus, Lowko. All of them. All right, Classic. You get all of the Colossi going, buddy. But you probably should not be giving your opponent too much wiggle room. Now he's got an observer here. He will see these mines. Oh, hello. Oh, a little awkward. There's, I think 1 Viking. Okay, there's 6 Vikings. Never mind. But still, this base is very easy to deny with this many Stalkers. And then this many Colossi. 1 Viking down. Yeah, we can dance here. We can dance back and forth and back and forth. Ultimately, Classic is going to max out 50 supply ahead of Maru. Maru had an EMP or 2 available. There's a couple of them going down. But where's the backbone? We have nothing. I mean, that was a nice attempt there by Maru. Don't get me wrong. I think this would work expertly well against my Protoss. My Protoss is not that good, admittedly. But I think when you're facing against... like top 10 Protosses in the world, this is not a playstyle that should ever work. Like maybe it can work if you have the aura, right? If you have the I am Maru, so respect my authority type of aura, right? Like when you have that, maybe, but I don't love this. Expertly done though by Classic. Playing it calm, playing it safely, not really taking any risks. That's the classic we all know and love, and he did that perfectly.